Okay, so last time we talked about how to use slope to graph equations of lines. Today we're going to talk about how to find the slope given 2 points. For your non-vertical line, your slope is always going to be the ratio of the rise to your run. It's always going to be y2 minus y1, that should be y1, over x2 minus x1. That's your slope equation. So all you can do is you can plug in your x and y coordinates into this equation, subtract them, and then simplify your fraction if possible. It doesn't matter which point you make y2, y1, which one x2, x1, as long as you're consistent. The coordinate that has the y2 better be the same one that has x2. Otherwise, you're going to have the negative of the correct answer. So I want to find the slope of the following lines, A and B. So it doesn't matter, so I'm going to just make these two my x2, y2s, this one my x1, y1s. Doesn't matter. So M would equal y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Minus negative becomes plus. 6 minus 4 is 2. Negative 8 plus 2 is a negative 6. I can reduce this fraction to negative 1/3. Had it done the other way around. 4 minus 6 over negative 2 minus a negative 8. That's plus. We get negative 2 over positive 6. We still get a negative 1/3 for our answer. So you pick whichever way you like better. It ultimately won't matter. As long as you subtract correctly, dealing with your negative signs properly, and then reduce properly, you'll have the same answer every single time. So I have this point, 5, 1, and 10, 8. So my slope will do 1 minus 10 over 5 minus 8. 1 minus 10, 5 minus 8. 1 minus 10 is a negative 9. 5 minus 8 is a negative 3. Negative 9 divided by negative 3 is a positive 3. So there's a slope of my line. So it's really as straightforward as that. Where it gets a little more interesting is situations like this one right here. So I want to find the slope of this line. And notice both my y coordinates are going to be the same. So let's see what happens. So my slope, I'm going to do 3 minus 3 over negative 5 minus negative 7. Negative 5 minus negative 7. 3 minus 3 is 0. Negative 5 plus 7 is 2. Well, 0 divided by any number will always be 0. So a trick you can use to find slopes, if you notice your y coordinates are both exactly the same number, your slope will be 0. Every single time. Not the exact number. If it's 3 and negative 3, those aren't exactly the same numbers. 7 and 7, negative 8, negative 8, 3 and 3 in this case, doesn't matter. If the y's are the same, your slope will be 0. Similar concept happens when the x's are the same. So if I plug these in, we'll have 9 minus a negative 2 over negative 6 minus a negative 6, which becomes plus, So 9 plus 2 is 11. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. Now, I cannot divide by 0, and if I do, I get something that's called undefined. So you can use a similar trick to finding slopes of lines when x's are both the same numbers. If the x values are both exactly the same, without doing any work, your slope will always be undefined in that particular case, because you can never divide by 0. So if they're both negative 6s, both negative 12s, both positive 5s, doesn't matter. If they're the same, the slope is undefined. Okay, so that's one thing we're going to do with slope. Now, another thing we can do is, if we are given the slope and 2 points, but we're missing one of the coordinate points, we can use the slope equation to solve for the missing coordinate points. So my slope is 8, and my slope equation would be y minus y, negative 5 minus 13, over x minus x, r minus 3. So this gives us 8 over negative 18. Sorry, 8 equals negative 18 over r minus 3. So if I think of my 8 as 8 over 1, I now have a proportion where I just cross multiply. 8 times r minus 3 must equal negative 18. And now I can solve this equation for r. So I distribute my 8 first, so 8r minus 24 equals negative 18. I add 24 to both sides. 8r equals a positive 6 divided by 8. and r will equal as the fraction 3/4 or as a decimal 0.75. Both are acceptable. So that's how we're going to use our slope equation to solve for a missing quarter point. You just plug all the points into your slope equation, set that equal to your slope value, and just solve it as a proportion. Simplify the one expression and then cross multiply. So I want you to do that on your own for this particular problem. Your slope is -1/2. It doesn't matter where you put the negative, either with the 1 or with the 2. General convention is put it up top. So use that concept to go ahead and solve for r. So when you work this out, you should get a +6 for r by plugging in, simplifying, cross-multiplying, and solving. So that's slope. So next time we're going to talk about your direct variation equation and how that applies to solving problems and how it applies to slope. So I will see you next time.